Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Thursday, October 17th, 2019. Happy birthday, Mark. In both the Lynn Life and the Jamie Body Mind, the authorized souls remain only child souls from the deeper, denser dimensions, and all other souls from all other dimensions, as long as the souls are already living by the many rules already given to the search for truth community by wiser minds above all of us. We have those rules right here. If anybody wants us to cover the remaining 4 rules on camera, we're happy to do so.
I don't feel any interest upstairs.
No interest upstairs. That's okay. We're always willing, and we acknowledge that there might be other rules that are not committed to paper, but we only have 13 rules on paper.
That's true.
Sometimes humans ask, how can we live in such a way as to have connections to divine presences, to actual godly presences in our day-to-day life? And the advice that's been given many times these last couple of years, the advice that the angels and godly presences have given, is to work for a do-gooder organization in your day job, live coherently with your stated values, volunteer, tithe, act on behalf of the oppressed, in this case the oppressed being the planet, because humans have already murdered more than 50% of all non-human life on Earth, all wildlife on Earth, and some estimates are more than 60% of wildlife have been murdered at the hands of humanity.
That's right.
And so this great die-off that's occurring right now, the Anthropocene extinction, is not pleasing to godly presences, and therefore humans who wish to be in contact with godly presences need to be standing up on behalf of the oppressed, the other species. But more to the point, the instruction of what to do for our day jobs to others who don't have this training and aren't able to facilitate angelically guided multidimensional energy healing for soul purpose healing sessions. The instructions have been, go work for a do-gooder organization. And we've been testing that this last maybe month, trying to work for a do-gooder organization and see how it goes.
That collective.
Over here, just as an experiment, and not intentionally. It came out of our volunteerism efforts. And there's a big need that nobody is stepping up to address. And so they asked us, please, will you do it just for a little while? And we said, all right, just for a little while. And we find it very challenging in terms of maintaining connection with wiser minds above, because there's so much input from human society that is such a tangled mass of truth and untruth and fear and confusion and foundational background, unexamined beliefs and assumptions that aren't accurate.
That's true.
That it's just really hard to keep our heads clear enough that we can hear the voices from above that are actually divine. And so we have a question, and we're actually really curious, is how does it seem to you guys upstairs? How's it going, this experiment?
The experiment of working in a do-gooder organization.
Yes, the experiment of working in a do-gooder organization while also doing all the other volunteer things and
That's
tithing
true.
things and meditation and prayer and exercise, and still facilitating healing sessions, but also spending 4 hours a day in an organizational setting. How's it going?
Well, one presence is talking about the difference between working in an organizational setting in an exterior office of which you don't have as much control, and working out of your home.
I do work out of my home.
And now he feels kind of embarrassed because he thought that that one was going into an office.
No.
But she's working from the home office.
From the home office. I do not have face-to-face interaction with these people.
Nope.
It's just email and phone,
Yep.
which is offensive enough. And it's not the people within the organization that are the worst.
No.
It's the marketing people are truly horrendous, to the point that we think that it's impossible to work in marketing and maintain any kind of integrity or sanity. They're really offensive people. And we're dealing with multiple marketing organizations in the process of terminating those relationships.
That's true.
And it's just offensive. And sadly, it isn't just the marketing people, it's the insurance people and everybody with whom we're in the process of terminating relationships. Nobody wants the gravy train to end.
That's true.
And they don't want to acknowledge that if they were doing their jobs in the first place, the gravy train maybe didn't have to end. But that they didn't do it very well, and now it's over, and they blew their chance. And now it's over. But it's just email and phone. We don't see these people. Why do you ask? Well, I see the room that's supposed to be communicating with us,
Yep.
and it's just empty. It's an empty room.
That's true. Well, one question would be, who do they represent, all those people for whom the gravy train has ended?
Who do they represent? All these people who missed their chance. It's always a message about the bigger picture. In what dimension? How high up? Through how many dimensions does this pattern extend where the gravy train is ended? It goes way up.
It really does.
Does anybody believe themselves to be above the end of where the gravy train has ended? Now I do see hands going up.
Yes, I do.
And now, for everybody who has their hands up, look up and see if you can see hands up above you. There's a looking up feeling.
Yeah, there is.
There, and maybe way up high, I see a hand way up high, the highest hand we can see, who believes the gravy train has ended for those levels beneath him or her, but not for him or her.
Yes,
And
exactly.
that would be the only one who would be worth listening to, because everybody else is just having problems acknowledging the gravy train's over, and that's exactly what's been going on in this dimension also. And
That's
how
true.
how is humanity exactly like that? We as a species seem to be having a hard time acknowledging that the gravy train is over.
That's true.
I totally get that. Maybe also the souls who are disconnecting from the lives and just being satisfied with floating parasitically are having a hard time acknowledging that the gravy train is over. And maybe the guardian angels who are responsible for supervising the souls who are now just living parasitically like waves of plankton, maybe
Yup.
they're also having a hard time acknowledging that the gravy train is over. And what about the godly presences who are responsible for the entire biosphere, which is really going down in flames? What about them? We just want to acknowledge that there are many godly presences who have given their all from this Dimension Planet combo pack. We've watched many give their all, use themselves up in the effort to create a divine plan, to get something going here,
That's true.
to take the situation from where it is to something that's actually positive and beneficial.
That's true.
And they've worn themselves out in the effort, or have rendered themselves incapable of functioning, which means they have to go up, which is what dying is.
That's true.
And have enough godly presences sacrifice themselves that in even higher dimensions someone will create a divine miracle for this suffering planet. I see that room where there's supposed to be people talking to us, but it's just empty, and it's kind of like also empty of furniture.
That's true. Looks like they've moved out.
They moved out, and maybe they had to survive. Again, we can see this. We would say this experiment is not a resounding success.
That's true.
What do you want What do you want us to do? How much longer do we continue the experiment before we say, that's it, it doesn't work?
And to clarify which experiment they're talking about.
I believe they're talking about the experiment of working in a not-for-profit, a do-gooder organization with actual intent to do good and to handle all situations honorably, with the needs of the land in the forefront of the decision-making process.
That's true.
It's a nature preserve. We're working for a nature preserve.
That's true.
And if that doesn't work, I just have a hard time seeing what would work that fits the definition of what you've told us to tell people to do.
Exactly.
And if that doesn't work, why are we telling people to do it? To minimize their bad karma. That's what they're saying, to minimize their bad karma.
That's true.
I know this feeling. This is the feeling of wanting the answer to be different. This is the answer shopping feeling. Is I don't want that to be the answer. It's like you're joking me, right?
I want there to be a better answer.
I want there to be a better answer. May we please see the face of whoever said the only hope is of minimizing their bad karma. It's an Akashic Records custodian. I can see that guy.
I see that.
They maintain the karmic records. And he sounds very cut and dry, kind of like mathematical formula.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if they don't do that, then they're not doing everything they can to minimize their bad karma, and they're racking up super, 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 super bad karma by participating in destructive activities such as that entire human society is carrying out.
Exactly. And it's interesting because he's looking at records of like lots of options for what people could do, and he has in one hand the lives of like monks and nuns, other people who sequester from society, and he says, well, they're not participating in society, but look at their action, like their action bar.
It's too low, too passive, they're not helping.
Exactly. So there's the bad karma for that.
For not helping, not stepping up.
And
it's better to be active.
That's what he's saying.
It's better to be active, at least to try to help, at least to try to minimize the damage, try to stop the destruction or minimize the destruction. And he's showing he's calling them cesspools of spirituality.
That's what he just said.
Where the presences are purporting to live spiritual lives, but they aren't jumping into action on behalf of the planet. And that was what we found sad, this life in the quest to live as a nun.
That's right.
And we found it was sad because they weren't active and they weren't helping, and they were happy to sit on the sidelines while humanity is destroying the planet, and it just didn't seem right.
That's right.
It seemed ethically wrong and selfish.
That's right.
And gradually we stopped financially supporting the nuns that were financially supporting because they weren't stepping up, even after we were saying this isn't enough, what you're doing isn't enough, it's almost selfish, come on, we've got to do more. All of it channeled in from probably their own guardian angels. Probably.
And also the guardian angels responsible for the group that they're a part of.
Definitely.
That
the
feels
abbeys,
real.
the monasteries.
Exactly.
Definitely. That's what the guardian angels of the monasteries were saying, is get
up,
get into action and do something.
That's right.
Do something.
And we get the letters from the nuns talking about how we're studying and we're praying and we're meditating, and
all of which is nice and necessary, but completely inadequate in this day and time.
That's right.
Completely inadequate. That's what they're saying.
So this Akashic record keeper is saying, so don't tell people to go be monks and nuns.
It's inadequate.
It's inadequate, and they'll get in trouble.
They are already in trouble.
They are already in trouble.
It won't get them out of trouble.
Exactly.
That's not enough. They've got to be active on behalf of the planet.
I hear you.
Well, how is the experiment that we're carrying out with working for that nature preserve 4 hours a day, working from home to handle their extremely challenging financial situation, applying our expertise as a CPA.
That's right.
How does it not meet the definitions of what you're saying to do? What am I missing?